with the NCAA moving to allow athletes to profit off their name and likeness, I think the big key when it comes to recruiting is athletes looking on two levels. One, the direct at the university level, where you're going to see sponsorships come through local businesses or sponsorships come through bigger companies where guys are going to be able to make some money. And then I think the other element, which is very interesting because this is not something that's existed, a decade, 2 decades ago, comes into social media. When we talk about Facebook, we talk about Instagram, we talk about YouTube, being able to monetize your page, being able to monetize your scope of what you're able to do through social media. I think that's going to be another element that's going to drive in recruiting. This is certainly going to be something that athletes have to think about in addition to figuring out where the best home for them is from an athletic and academic standpoint.
Yeah, I think, Michael, also on the college end, you're going to have sponsorships being huge, right? I mean, companies being able to give these kids money. And really, it's going to be the NCAA has, the board of directors has agreed to allow name, image, and likeness. But exactly what does that mean? We don't know right now. We don't know how far they're going to go. Are they going to allow kids to make money off autographs? Are they going to allow them to do sponsorships? Are they going to cap them? And are these things going to change over the course of the time that they're in college? And I think certainly there's going to be an interesting dynamic in the locker room as well with these kids. One kid's making more money and he's not performing as well. Is there some sort of jealousy in the locker room? There's a lot to look at with this. But I think ultimately, again, it's going to be what does the NCAA do here in terms of capping, in terms of the rules? And a lot of people aren't exactly encouraged that the NCAA is going to make the right decision in terms of how they carry this thing out.
To piggyback off of Jeff's point, let's not give the NCAA too much credit just yet. What this is a very finely worded press release. We saw the Associated Press tweet that the NCAA approved name, image, and likeness compensation, which isn't true. That's not what the press release said. This is actually a very good job on the part of the PR staff of the NCAA. If you read the headline, it says the Board of Governors starts processes to enhance name, image, and likeness opportunities. The whole thing is that they want to allow this, but it says in a manner consistent with the collegiate model. And right now that does not include compensation. The NCAA has said that California Bill 206 might be constitutional. So let's not give them too much credit because right now these schools, they want the money to go through them. Remember, they are nonprofits. Michael Drake, the president of Ohio State, who's the president of the Board of Governors, or rather the chairman, Ohio State last year, they reported $205 million in total revenue for their athletic department. Those schools want this money. So if these payments and compensations are allowed, that money then goes straight to the athletes and not through the school and through donors and stuff like that. So at this point, let's not give the NCAA too much credit because this is just a finely worded press release with lots of qualifiers and ifs and ands. If you read the statement itself, these payments have not been allowed. They're just saying, okay, we're going to try to maybe explore this. But so far, like Jeff said, we don't know what this actually includes. What are the actual processes and regulations? But so far, this is maybe a small step in the right direction, but we don't have any clue what this actual final result might look like.
Let's face it, the only reason that the NCAA is doing this is because the politicians forced them to do this. Governor Newsom out in California, some of the other politicians, we could talk all we want about the fact that these guys shouldn't have gotten involved because they didn't know what they were talking about. But ultimately, they got it done here, and they got the NCAA to at least start to move the ball forward. And again, starts the process, as Andy said. It's not as if they're done with anything yet, but at least they're moving in the right direction, and hopefully this thing gets done here in the next year or so. But again, I'm super worried about how this thing gets played out because certainly the commissions that they put together in the past to change the recruiting model and do many other things haven't exactly hit it out of the park.
Yeah, this is a meeting about having a meeting before you go to the meeting. So I think this is a great first steps, but the big key here is going to be how things are handled. The NCAA has not been great at this. They usually get it wrong. We call them on it, and then they go back to the drawing board to fix it again. So I don't think we're at the end of this fight, but I do think this is a great step.